Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bazil. Welcome to Gigantic Weekly. This show is a weekly show where I discuss one kind of big topic that I really felt led to discuss about the game Gigantic, about its community, about developments, etc., etc. This week I want to focus on drafting and what I personally believe is a kind of a good set balance when it comes to drafting, the amount of heroes that we're going to have, etc., etc. So currently, if we look at a hero pool, we have 16 heroes that are out currently. Obviously, Motiga has said that they are going to continue to release heroes and whatnot. Obviously, because we want more variety, and it was brought up in the community council, which is why I'm actually kind of making this video, is that mirror matchups and bannings and all this other, like, all these opinions kind of all don't agree on really anything, which is really odd, because generally when you look at a competitive scene or a upcoming competitive environment, we have people that at least agree with each other. And at least on the community council that we recorded on the 23rd of March, it wasn't that way, which kind of struck me as odd. So I kind of want to get a larger discussion going in terms of the entire Gigantic community. So if you guys could participate in the discussion below, keep it civil, and please remember, if you are in sort of any NDA contracts with Motiga, please do not break the NDA and respect them for that. So moving on. My personal kind of, I guess, gripe about a mirror matchup in terms of competitive environment as we are now is it was really hard to distinguish at PAX East which hero was doing what at any given time. And the casters were kind of a little bit overworked because they had to say this team's Trip or this team's Charnock or this team's Tyto. And that can become extremely overwhelming and almost an annoyance in terms of a shoutcasting point of view, but in terms of a spectator point of view, it got really kind of mishcom-jumbled, and it was harder to follow certain aspects of the game. Team fights were just a mess because there was a lot of mirror matchups that happened during the past PAX East tournament, and so mirror matchups I don't personally like. And if we go into, okay, so say the game was launched tomorrow, which it's not going to be, it just hypothetically speaking, the game's launched tomorrow, we have picks and bans in, and they don't include a no mirror matchup. I would not like that. I want to be able to at least have different heroes on different teams to easily make players, not players, to easily allow the spectators to see who's on what team. And also because we don't have red team versus blue team, all the heroes are their normal colors. So if we have Tyto versus Tyto, Margrave versus Margrave, and Gnosis versus Gnosis, all coming in at once, that's going to be really hard to distinguish who is on what team unless you have some sort of split screen action, which they did on the stream at PAX East. So mirror matchups at this point are just a no-go. And my main kind of argument for that is the heroes are able to be built in different ways, not just a one default. So we have heroes like Vidasi, heroes like Sven. Both are kind of pushed into that more healing support role, but we're also able to spec them and skill them into the kind of hybrid DPS, or even just flat out DPS where they stay in the back, or in Vidasi's case, kind of stay up kind of slightly in the front and just smite everyone's face and melt it. So it's a interesting kind of conundrum to think like people normally would think in a quote unquote MOBA, because the heroes in Gigantic are so diverse that you're able to have different heroes fill way more roles than you otherwise would be. Now, the second argument to a draft mode and just kind of what it is now is the game is very centric about, are you good at X specific heroes? Are you good at whatever hero that you're forced into playing? And this can be countered by having one specific person play a role. So this person plays a bruiser/tank role, so he can play two of those roles. his focuses are going to be on the bruiser and tank heroes. Examples are going to be of a bruiser, Gnosis. Examples of a tank are going to be obviously Margrave. So this is something that is very important when it comes to team diversity in terms of what players actually play, what heroes or what role. It was brought up in the council that teams are going to ban based on, respect bans or, Teldo's playing, so obviously we should ban Trip, but he's not just good at Trip. If you've seen him play Taito at PAX East, he was ridiculously good at that as well. Corrupt is known for his Amani play. He's also really good at a few other heroes. And you can't just base off of, I don't want to draft mode right now, just purely based on, you can only ban or pick certain heroes that you're good at, because the top level competitive teams are going to be good at more than one hero. So that's kind of my counter argument to that, at least. The final kind of counter argument that I have why draft mode and why a non-mirror mode is a good thing is the game's competitive level that we saw at PAX East. Wow, I cannot speak today. Is insane. The one tap versus the Clash Point mini tournament that we had during the Saturday Night Social was insane. Like, it literally came down to 1 HP on both of the Guardians. One team made a mistake, bam, the game was over. It wasn't because they had that hero, or, Teldo was playing Trip, or Corrupt was playing Amani. It wasn't because of that key factor. It was all the team playing in a roundabout, very, very well-rounded way. So it allowed them to really kind of showcase the competitive level of Gigantic. And in a pick and ban sort of era, if that happened, I think the game probably would have been a little bit closer, because people would have been forced to play outside their comfort zones and possibly play heroes that they might not be as good at, but still very, very well good at, which would maybe have given a different kind of sided match. But both teams were allowed to play whatever heroes that they wanted to play, and that kind of gave us the best result possible. Now, flip side of that, you can argue, that's the kind of matches that we want all the time. But again, the problem is when we end up in a mirror matching setting, it is extremely hard from a spectator view, just a spectator view, to tell what is going on without any sort of indication on who is on what team. So, if we do want a mirror match mode in tournaments, and this is going to depend on the community, guys. This is all on you. Motiga has said that the community is going to push whatever competitive mode or competitive style that they want and support that. So, as a community, we need to say, what do we want, what do we don't want, and let's just try a bunch of different things. And while trying a bunch of different things, we're going to find out what works, what doesn't work, and then we'll just move on from there. So, what do you guys think as a community? Do we need a mirror mode? Is that something that if the game were to launch right now, is that a good thing for the game in a competitive environment? Do we need a draft mode? Do you think bans are necessary? Do you want to see a certain number of bans? Maybe 1 per team, 2 per team? Do you think that limits the hero pool too much? So what do you guys think as a community? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Put them in the comments section below, and have a wonderful afternoon, morning, and or evening. I'll see you guys next time. Endguard.